Hey there guys, in today's video I wanted to talk about the top 5 things you should know before you get a companion parrot. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, you want to make sure to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Guys, this is Jack over at Hi Red Bird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. Now, when it comes to things like companion parrots, I think the best way to make it more enjoyable is to help people know what they are signing up for, because a parrot is not going to be the same as a dog or a cat. So, for today's video, I wanted to go over the top 5 things I think you should know before you get a companion parrot. Now, these are obviously going to be my opinions. Other people are going to have different opinions. There's obviously a lot that you're going to want to know. You're going to want to do your research thoroughly to make sure you are prepared, but these are the top 5 things that I think that you should know. Number 1. I think it's really important to recognize that every single bird is an individual. Now that means that you can look online, you can see ways that different birds react to things, different social structures of birds. Maybe certain birds are known for being louder, not as loud. But the important thing to remember is that all of those birds are unique individuals, and that sometimes the bird that's supposed to be a really good talker doesn't want to talk at all. The bird that's supposed to be very, very outgoing might be a little bit more reserved. Just like with people, there are some people that like being the center of attention at a party. There are some people that want nothing more than to sit at home with a good book. There's nothing wrong with either of those things with people. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things when it comes to our parrots. So you just need to go into it knowing that your bird is going to be an individual. You're going to have to observe your bird and develop a care routine that is designed with your individual bird in mind. Because even if somebody has the exact same bird of the exact same species, of the exact same age, of the exact same gender, of the exact same zodiac sign, at the end of the day, those are going to be completely different birds. They may have different ways that they react with the world. The second thing to know about having a companion parrot, they have the potential to be very, very, very messy. That wasn't on cue, but that probably is a great demonstration of what can happen. Now, there's a couple of reasons why companion parrots can be so messy. Probably the most obvious is going to be their feathers. They are going to be constantly dropping and growing new feathers. Birds use their feathers for things like flight. They're going to use them to insulate their bodies, so they want to make sure those feathers are in really good condition. So they drop them and grow new ones before they can get too ratty, before they can lose their function. Those feathers can end up all over your home. They can make a little bit of mess. Obviously, as you just saw, they do go to the bathroom, and they don't necessarily care if they go to the bathroom on you. They will also find a nice, comfortable perch. Anywhere they feel comfortable is at risk of being a place that they regularly go to the bathroom. So if they're comfortable landing on your furniture, they may be going to the bathroom there. And if they're comfortable landing on you, you might be a bathroom spot as well. Depending on the type of bird you get. Some birds use oil to condition their feathers, but some birds, things like cockatoos, African gray parrots, they're actually going to produce a dust at the base of their feather shafts, which means they're going to produce a lot more dust, a lot more mess. Are you trying to steal the tag from my shirt? So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to things like that. Also, their food. Parrots do have a tendency to look for the most choice food items. So if you give your bird a good bowl of food, a varied diet, it is very, very likely that they will take certain food items, throw them to the side in the name of trying to find their favorite items. There are, of course, ways that you can mitigate this, but they do still have that potential. Another thing is that a lot of the toys that are designed for parrots are going to be destructible or shreddable toys. They are designed to give your bird something to do, to wear down their nails, wear down their beak, but it means they are going to be making a bit of a mess as well. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. The third thing you want to know about your parrot is they do have the potential to be very, very loud. And all of the vocalizations that your parrot make, I feel, should go into this category. It may not turn out the way you want it to go. So you might hear that a particular species is very, very quiet, but your individual bird is not. You need to remember that these birds are fairly social. They are used to living in places where their friends and their family are able to fly as well. So they're going to be in separate trees. So especially first thing in the morning, last thing at night, they do like to call out to make sure everyone in their perceived flock is all right. Those contact calls are going to be really, really important to them, but they may not be the most enjoyable thing to you or your neighbors. So you definitely want to be aware that they do have that potential. Some birds also have a really good reputation for talking, but you may end up with a bird that doesn't talk. Or maybe you end up with a bird that doesn't mimic words, but they're able to mimic things like whistles and random sound effects. Either way, your bird is going to be a really interesting, really cool bird. The sounds that they make are going to be unique to your bird. One more thing that I want to mention when it comes to the loudness of a parrot. Sheer decibels is not the only thing that you can use to measure. Because if we were just going by how loud a parrot is, things like macaws and cockatoos would rank top of the list every time. They have the ability to produce quite a bit of sound. That being said, there are other species that are a little bit more grating to me. Things like sun conures and golden conures. There's something about the pitch of their vocalizations. I don't even hear it so much as feel it in my spine. They're beautiful birds. They're a lot of fun to work with. I like working with them if they're outside, but it's definitely not something that I would probably want in my house. But it is complete personal preference there, because I know other people that love the vocalizations of their conures and couldn't stand the sheer volume of a macaw or a cockatoo. So just be aware that noise is going to be a factor when you are figuring out what you want to do with a companion parrot. The fourth thing you're going to want to know is medical care can be a little bit tricky with something like a companion parrot. Medical care is going to be a necessity for any bird that you get into your care. It's going to be a necessity for any animal that you get into your care. If you take an animal to be your pet, it is your responsibility to take the best possible care of them. One of my friends from Germany put it best. That bird, that pet that you got, did not show up on your doorstep with a suitcase. It did not invite itself into your home. You brought that animal into your home, so it is your responsibility to take care of it. And with things like birds, that can be a little bit tricky for a couple of different reasons. First of all, birds do not show signs of illness usually until it is too late. So you're going to have to get into the habit of focusing your observational skills for your bird. You're going to want to do things like regular weigh-ins to check to make sure that they are not gaining or losing weight. You are going to want to pay attention to their food consumption, because a sudden increase or decrease in their appetite can be a sign of a major problem. You're going to want to pay attention to their activity level. If that changes, that could be a sign of an issue. Widget sitting on my shoulder and picking at the seams of my shirt is actually completely normal for him. So when I feel him doing that, I know he's feeling all right. Even with the camera, the microphone, the light, everything else going on, he is definitely feeling pretty comfortable. But you want to make sure that you pay attention to things like that, because with a bird, things can go wrong pretty quickly, or it can seem that they went wrong pretty quickly because your bird isn't showing signs of illness. Sometimes they'll even hide signs of physical injury, because as a prey species, if they look weak, they would be the first one to be picked off. So they usually try to hide those signs. Now, when it does come time for medical care, it can be a little bit difficult to find a veterinarian willing to work on a companion parrot. They are still seen as an exotic species. Luckily, more people are getting parrots, and they are becoming more common in veterinary offices, but it can still be a little bit of a challenge. I'm also going to point out that it can be even more of a challenge to find something like an emergency vet. Even if you have a regular veterinarian that you like for your bird, they do a good job with your bird, if they are not open 24/7, you may find yourself running into an emergency situation where they are not available, but your bird does need medical care. That's kind of the whole point of emergency situations. You don't have the ability to control when they happen, so you just want to make sure that you are prepared for when they happen. So finding those veterinarians is going to be very, very important, but it can be a little bit difficult. Now, when you find a veterinarian that can do your bird's regular care, that can do any emergency care that you might need, you are going to find that the veterinary care for a companion parrot, for pretty much any kind of exotic animal, is going to be a little bit more expensive, if not significantly more expensive than something like a cat or a dog. The fact of the matter is that the veterinarians that take care of those animals have to take additional studies to learn how to take care of those animals, additional certifications. Not all veterinarians are certified avian vets. Not all veterinarians have experience working with things like reptiles, working with things like fish, which still need veterinary care. So finding a veterinarian that can take care of exotics, that can give you the kind of care that your animal needs, can be a little tricky, and it can be a little bit expensive. Now, the way that you can mitigate that is by having those regular checkups, building your observational skills. So you're checking your bird's weight, you're checking your bird's attitude and appetite on a regular basis. You also want to set up a regular annual exam for your bird. That's going to accomplish a couple of things. One, your veterinarian will get to lay eyes on your bird on a regular basis, which will help to make sure your bird is healthy. It'll also help you foster a relationship with that veterinarian. And when you have that relationship, they're going to be better able to help you in an emergency situation. They're going to help you know what you need to be doing on a regular basis to help make sure that your bird is staying in optimum health. The final thing you need to know about companion parrots is that they have a ton of personality. That is typically going to be a very good trait. Sometimes going to be a little bit of an obnoxious trait. I'm not going to lie. Right now, Widget here has some new feathers growing in. You can kind of see those pin feathers that he's got coming in along his head, along his neck. They also do that. Now, while I would like to get those pin feathers off of his head and his neck, help him out with those, they're still a little bit tender. He doesn't want me to get anywhere near them to touch them, and he is a little bit of a butthead right now because of that. But that being said, he has a ton of personality. Even on the days that he is a little bit obnoxious, he's still a ton of fun to interact with, to play with. Building a relationship with a bird is both a tremendous positive and a tremendous negative, because you are going to get more attached to a companion parrot than you will most other animals in your life. And that's going to be for a couple of reasons. These guys are incredibly smart. You're looking at an animal that has the problem-solving skills and the emotional intelligence of a toddler. So something that is capable of learning how to interact with your environment, is capable of learning how to interact with you on particular days. They will pick up on your mood. They will know if you are in a good mood, if you are in a bad mood, and you're going to have them for a lot longer than most other companion pets. A bird like Widget right here, if properly kept, can easily live to be 25, 30 years old. If you're looking at things like those bigger parrots, cockatoos and macaws, now we're talking about something that can live to be 50, 80, maybe even 100 years old. So you have that animal that you can build that great relationship with. They're going to have a ton of personality, a ton of opinions, and you're going to be interacting with that animal for quite some time. So that is great when you are interacting with that animal. But if anything ever happens, if your life situation changes, if you're no longer able to take care of that bird, or if that bird reaches the end of that lifespan, it is going to be absolutely devastating because you built such a great relationship with that bird. I don't say that to deter people from getting a pet bird, but I want to make sure that people know that that is something you need to take into consideration, because a parrot is definitely going to be a little bit different than something like a cat, a dog, anything like that. They are going to have a tremendous impact on your life, and it is, I think, for the better, but it is definitely something that you need to be aware of before you get a companion bird. All right, guys, so those were the top 5 things I think you should know before you get a companion parrot. Now, if you guys found this video helpful, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. You can share it with anyone you think might benefit from it. And if you haven't already, you want to subscribe to the Hi Redbird YouTube channel, because I put together training tutorials, toy building tutorials, things to help you guys take better care of your pets. And that's not just going to be parrots, it's going to be things like dogs, reptiles, large hoof stock. So any pets or exotic animals that you guys would like to see me talk about, please just let me know, and I'd love to talk about those. If you guys would like to support me further, I do have things like a Facebook page, a Patreon that you guys can subscribe to. The information for that's going to be in the description section of this video. At this point, I think Patreon is going to be used to pay for the paper towels that I have to use to clean up after somebody decides to go to the bathroom on me multiple times during a video. I love how he's looking away like it was somebody else who did it. So I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I certainly hope it was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
I do need to say a special thank you to my patrons on Patreon. By signing up to support this channel, they help me make more tutorials and videos showcasing animal care possible. If you'd like to find out more about subscribing to my Patreon, you can find the link in the description section down below. Thanks so much.